just a little update on the flute blower. This thing is definitely doing its duty. I got one hell of a fire going right now, as you can see. Really no vibration. The plastic impeller is just doing amazing. Very surprised. Okay, that was 132 watts we were looking at. I'm going to turn this thing all the way up and see what happens here. This is going to be interesting because this burner tends to go a bit nuts when I do this. The reclaimer's running at about 538 degrees. Got a serious inferno going on inside this thing. I would imagine there's a fireball inside of this at this point. We're going to go outside and see what type of exhaust we're getting. Definitely starting to feel the infrared radiation coming off of this thing. 600 degrees is a real good emitter temperature in my opinion. It's not too much where it's catching stuff on fire and melting things. And that is at full power, which a lot of the smoke is being burnt inside the cyclone that's in that reclaimer. So it is kind of a clean burn. A lot of what we're seeing here is steam, because that wood is fairly wet wood. But that's full power. No vibration really to be worried about at all. I can put my hand on this. It is hot. Only seeing a temperature of 116 degrees. So the plastic impeller is doing okay. And I was worried about it at first. But I do have a confession to make. I got the idea from the Chinese. I know. I mean, they've been doing it on so many things. The furnace in your house has a plastic blower on the heat exchange, which is ridiculous in my opinion, but they're holding up so far, I guess. Nobody's house is burnt down yet. But I'm going to be taking this thing apart when it warms up, and we're going to check out the flue blower impeller and see what kind of shapes it in. I may even wait to post this footage till that time. Okay, so with wet wood and on maximum power, I seem to be maxed out around 600 degrees on this reclaimer, which, as I said, is a pretty good temperature. Now, if I were to be burning scrap lumber or something like that, there is no way I could run this thing this high. This thing would be glowing red hot right now. All fall from, or like cut off from stringers, yellow pine, stuff like that. Burns like uranium. I would only be able to run this thing on about 100 watts if I had yellow pine in this thing. So there you have it. Just wanted to do an update to let you know, any of you guys who are interested in that build, this thing is still holding out pretty good. I'm going to clean that lens up real quick and we'll get a look at what we got in there. Very hot fire there. I do have an observation dome for this thing also, but I'm not going to really mess with that. You can see the flames are pretty much almost coming all the way up inside of here. There's an air wall right there. All around this gap, air leaks, and it creates an air wall at the top there. So the flames rarely come up inside here. You can see them starting to lick up a little bit. But for the most part, that air wall kind of keeps them headed down into that bay, into this discharge here, which is probably running about 900 degrees right now. Here. No, I was way off. by about 100 degrees. This area typically runs in the 900s. There is a fan blowing right here though, so you're gonna experience some cooling from that, of course. We're finally hitting the 700s. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing down. It'll burn a pile of wood up in a day easy. That there is about 4 hours worth of wood in this thing. Eventually I'm going to build a far more efficient unit that also burns the wood or the smoke. This one does burn the smoke when you have a really big fire in there, but unless you have flames shooting through this discharge, it doesn't burn the smoke. So I regret that tube not being lower. I kind of need to build a system where the discharge is on the bottom. But we're coming to that. I put a lot of money and time into this particular burner, so I think I'm going to get at least 10 years out of it before I change it. It does fine. There's no sense in changing burners out at this point. Just going to go with it. Plus this one does have the advantage of being able to circulate water through it in the event I decide I need to do that, which I have done in the past. Anyway, there you are. The plastic flue blower is still running strong, and it's so quiet in here without that vacuum cleaner blower that I had. I'm definitely digging this setup. That right there is a hot fire. Man, I can't even stand here. I'm trying to get a shot. That's where all the smoke gets burnt right there, is in that throat. See the fire shooting in there? Man, that thing is kicking some radiation. I use that dome to observe the combustion dynamics and all that one during the design process of this. I tried to use this other cyclone throat to get another swirl, a little bit more of a swirl going in there. I don't know if you can see that nozzle, but it doesn't work very well. I'll go ahead and open it up. Man, there's so much heat right here. Okay. It is now open. I can't even stand right here. I gotta get out of here. And I actually did seem to heat them top flames up. When there's no top flame like that though, and I open that port, that top port, it reduces combustion. I usually just leave the bottom port open. See that? That's the bottom port. There's also a bit of an air wall, like I said, from the leaks around this entire periphery. Man, that is so hot. We'll go ahead and close this. See if we notice any major change. And that is with the secondary air closed. There is so much heat coming off of this thing right now. Unreal. The camera's not picking it up very good, but it's a pretty large coal fire. And when you get that much coal in there, or charcoal fire I mean, not coal. I meant like hot coals. You know what I meant. The heat from that much coals burning at once, that many embers, it's just insane. Well, I'm not really too hot on the reclaimer. Still, the radiation coming out of that area is just more than I can handle. We're at 70 degrees in the shop here, or the garage, whatever you want to call it, and see about how big this place is. And the outside temperature. There's no insulation in this garage, by the way. It's just plywood it together. Yeah, I can't even see that. It says 35 to 34 degrees. I don't know if I believe that. It's a ground temperature. definitely cold out. So I'm glad I went with this plastic blower. So if anyone was wondering whether or not my blower has melted on me yet, it has not. And this thing is like cranking some serious heat. We'll go check it out on a coal fire real quick. The coal fire, it's not the coal fire, the hot coal fire. Apparently I forgot what charcoal is. Really not a lot of smoke when it's just charcoal. For the most part, it's that steam right there, because there's still moisture deep down in the wood, and I know that because I put my hand in the flue stream and it just soaks it wet. Maybe I'll do it right here. Well, you can see that. Dried up pretty quick, but it has a really moist flue stream right there. All of that wood was only about a year old. I'm only at 83 degrees or so. And there's my State Farm insurance connection. Anyway, this comes off during the summer, so I'm not paying higher insurance just because I have a wood burner in my garage. It's ridiculous. Freaking people.